Hey there, how you doing? Charlie Winters here with horse racing tips for Friday the 17th of May. Well, yes, it's an early one, and it's also another profitable day. It's so easy, this game is. I'm just kidding. So, £10 stake, £18 something return. And I tell you what, we was unlucky at that as well. What was the horse called? Alligator Alley. Not given the best of rides, didn't get the best of runs, got shuffled back, came again, finished ninth. I think if it finished in the first seven, we'd have got an each way acca up, which would have made it a nice profitable day. But £10 stake, £18 return. So if you give me a like purely for good luck. If you don't like the video, well, that's your own fault. Anyway, that was a bit harsh. Anyway, let's get into it. So it's a very early video for Friday. No reason whatsoever apart from it's raining in Nottinghamshire. And I'm sat with nothing to do until it stopped raining, and then I'm back outside. So, the first selection, bearing in mind, it's a really tricky day at York. I tell you what, I could have picked probably half a dozen in every single race, and that's not my get-out clause. I think by the end of the day, I could be, hopefully I'm not, I think I could be kicking myself, because honestly, I could give chances to at least half a dozen. But this is how I like the racing. Big fields to pick holes in, looking for draw advantage and all that stuff. So let me get into it. So the first selection isn't at York. The first selection is in the 223 at Newmarket. Al Bahi paying 4 places instead of 3. I've looked at these jockeys and I tell you what, I don't know half of them. Or maybe I do know half of them, but I think a lot of these are going to be just holding on for dear life. I've looked at this horse. It found trouble last time. I think this horse is ridiculously well handicapped. If you go back 2 years when it's trained by, I can't remember it's trained by maybe Michael Stout, because he gets an awful lot of horses, Kevin Frost does, off Michael Stout. And I have tips of them that have run well in the past. It's ridiculously well handicapped. It's been running on the all-weather, but it also runs equally well on the turf. I recognise the jockey, and he's also, I think it's Andrea Pinner. I think he rides for Scott Dixon on the all-weather mainly. Claim 7, which is valuable because I haven't heard of some of these jockeys, and they claim less than this jockey. And I've seen this jockey ride, and if it's a he can ride. I do believe this horse should be travelling well towards the back and will be making ground towards the end of the race. I've had to take SP on both because it's early. I'm expecting... In fact, I'll tell you what I'm expecting. This is the race on the Racing Post. So Al Bahi is currently 16, so it'll probably open up even money favourite. So no, 16s plus. I've been more than happy with that. Right. Next selection is Sweet Reward at 11-1 in the 230 at Newbury, paying 5 places instead of 3. I do like backing Jonathan Portman horses. It came second by a short head in this race last year. How do I know that? I looked at the form from last year. How do I know that? Because I tipped it in this race last year. I'm sure it came second. And I also tipped another, I think, from his stable at this meeting, and it won. But Sweet Reward, there are some horses that could progress past this horse, and this horse might only come placed. But I think this horse is probably one of the safest bets to at least run its race. And they're paying 5 places, and I think 11-1 is a sensible and realistic price. The third selection is Stress Free. It's 11-1 in the 245 at York, paying 6 places instead of 4. I've been trying everything I can to find the final reason for backing Loyal Touch in this race, but I can't touch the Charlie Johnson horses. It's just, I don't know. So that's one of the horses that I could be kicking myself at, Loyal Touch, because I've gone for Stress Free. Because Stress Free, I think it's got a ridiculously good chance. I think it's really well handicapped. I think it'll come travelling well into the race. I don't think the ground is too quick for it, although it generally goes on much slower ground. But it goes against what I think, as in like horses coming from behind. I'm not saying it can't, and I'm not saying it won't. But Loyal Touch was the one that I thought were going to really stretch him out, and it went clear at Chester. But I just can't have it. I saw it run another race at Loyal Touch at York, and it didn't look ready for winning. Even though it was last year, it just didn't seem like it was ready for winning. So I've gone for stress-free, and I need the David and Morris stable to get what? What did it say? To get banging the winners in. I weren't going to use that phrase, but I've used it now. Fourth selection, Spiritual. Bearing in mind, I've been picking these for about an hour now, and I'm trying to explain why I picked them. Spiritual at 7-1 in the 3:15 at York, paying 4 places instead of 3. Once again, I originally fancied another horse. I'm not going to go through the racing post again. This is trained by John Gosden, or one of the more fancied horses. Finished behind a John Gosden horse. I'll tell you what it was. It was the Kevin Ryan horse. It was beaten on its reappearance by a John Gosden horse. Relatively comfortably, but I think that Kevin Ryan horse has since come on for that run. Well, the John Gosden horse, he must know all about the horse that he had that day that beat the one of Kevin Ryan's. So therefore, it should have a form line. I saw that John Gosden had a winner yesterday. I think it was at Bath. And I think his horses are coming on. They're running okay, but they're coming on massively for the run. And Spiritual has had a recent run, and I think it will progress again. And I think it's got a good chance. And Kieran Schumacher has ridden it on all its runs so far. I don't know if I'm a fan of Kieran Schumacher, so he's got chance to amend and fix this. So I become a fan of his tomorrow if he wins on this Spiritual. And hopefully it's the 4th winner of the day. The 5th selection is Tropez Power, or Tropez Power. It's 11-1 in the 4:45 at York, paying 6 places instead of 4. And it wasn't originally my first selection. My first selection originally was Red Mirage from the same stable. And I'm thinking, hold on a minute. James Doyle's on it, not a fan of him. But why is he on it? Where's Jason Hart? Well, Jason Hart's on this one. And I'm thinking, oh, here we go. So I looked at it. I think, oh, it's doing really well on the all-weather. And it's rated £5 lower than its all-weather mark, which I don't on the turf. And I don't like backing horses when the rate on the turf, when they're rated lower on the turf than on the all-weather. Or equally the other way around. Because I think that's for a reason, because they're not as good on the turf. However, I've gone back to its turf runs, and it was running fine on the turf. It was actually running pretty well. And I think it's had a standout performance at Southall recently, where it achieved a big Racing Post rating. And what I do like is I like the official rating, and then when they win or when they run well, the Racing Post rating to be well above, and I mean well above. And it tells me that it's a horse that's running into form or achieved a massive performance. Well, I think it's running into form, and I've seen this Tropez Power, some of its commentaries from when it's been running like this year and last year, and it travels really, really well. And I'm thinking there's going to be a good pace at York, but I'd be surprised if there isn't. And I'm thinking this horse will be really travelling. I don't think the ground's going to get any slower. It just seems to be cloudy at York. And I think this horse will be travelling well, and it could well get the forecast, John and Sean Quinn. But I think both horses have got chances, but I've gone for Tropez Power at 11-1. The final selection, and I think it's a crazy price because I've taken 14s. What I've done, I've had a 10 pence each way lucky 63, but I've actually had 2 5 pence each way lucky 63s. Obviously, it comes to the same price as a 10 pence each way lucky 63. However, in one of the bets, I have left all the prices to SP apart from Jubilee Walk. And then in another bet, the one you've just seen, I've taken all the prices. So Jubilee Walk at 14-1 in the 5:20 at York, paying 6 places instead of 4. James Ferguson, I think, is a top-class trainer, or will be, and I think he'll be targeting a lot of these. Relatively, this isn't one of the more valuable handicaps on the card, but I think it's about a 12-14 grand race. I think James Ferguson is going to be one of those, a bit like your Archie Watsons, but like I don't say a classic version, but I don't know how old James Ferguson is, but I think it's relatively new-ish. 4 or 5 years on the scene, but I think it's going to be a bit like your Jack. It reminds me a bit like Jack Shannon, Archie Watson, George Bowie. Then you've got James Ferguson like this one, and I think he's one of those trainers where you're more than able to pick off top-class handicaps, and then eventually it will be sent some very top-class horses, and we'll have group horses. But I think it's going to make a name for itself in these kind of races, 14 to 1 is too big for me. 6 places, so ideally at least a place. So hopefully we've got something massive to shout for come the 520 race. So actually, £12.60. So I know if you wanted 20 pence each way accumulator, 40p takes it up to £13 for the day. I'm going to put that on now. So an extra 20 pence each way accumulator just to make it to £13 per day. So the very best of luck. Give me a like. You're probably not even here now. But if you are, give me a like or give me the time or the length of the video in the comment section. And also, if you fancy horses, let me know. I'll have a look out for them. So the very best of luck. Charlie Winters, over and out. Cheers, mate.